On a cold January night in 1935, in a small town in Mississippi called Tupelo, two babies came into the world. Sadly, only one of those babies survived, but the baby who survived was named Elvis Aaron Presley. Minutes after the first baby, Jesse, was stillborn, Elvis began to cry, and Elvis lived his whole life feeling the absence of that twin brother. His mother would often tell him, "You must live for two." Perhaps that great emptiness inside that little boy was the first spark of the fire that would one day make him the greatest artist in the world. But in those days, no one could have guessed it, because the Presley family was quite poor. This is the story of a king. But like every king, he too started from the very bottom. Today, we're going to tell you about that boy the world had not yet heard of. If you've taken your seats and subscribed, we're beginning. The Presley family lived in one of the poorest regions of America, in a small two-room house. Elvis's father, Vernon, was a man who struggled to make ends meet and was sometimes out of work. His mother, Gladys, was a woman who watched over her son like the apple of her eye and loved him more than anything. There was an extraordinary bond between Elvis and his mother. Even in that poverty, Gladys tried to give her son the world. The family was so poor that at one point they even lost their home. Searching for a better life, they moved from Tupelo to the city of Memphis. But in Memphis, not much changed. Poor neighborhoods again, hard days again, and poverty again. Little Elvis was a quiet and shy boy. He was not like the other children, but there was something inside him, a feeling like longing. And Elvis would express that feeling through music. His first encounter with music happened in church. The Presley family was a religious one, and they went to church every week. And there, little Elvis, inside those gospel choirs, felt the power of music for the first time. He saw how people lost themselves, how voices could fill a whole room. In fact, according to one story, when he was very small, he would run up to the church choir and stand in front of the singers, trying to imitate them. When he turned 11, he received a gift that would change his life, a guitar. As the story goes, he had actually wanted a bicycle, but his family couldn't afford it, and they bought him a guitar instead. Who could have known that the boy who wanted a bicycle would one day claim his kingdom with that guitar? Little Elvis took that guitar everywhere. He taught himself to play. The songs he heard on the radio, the gospel he learned in church, those blues sounds coming from the black neighborhoods. He drew them all inside himself. Without realizing it, he was combining wildly different musical worlds inside himself. And that mixture would one day change the world. Years passed. Elvis finished high school and began working as a truck driver. By day, he was behind the wheel, but that fire of music inside him never went out. And in 1953, the 18-year-old Elvis walked into a small recording studio in Memphis. This studio was a place where anyone could come and record their own record for a few dollars. Elvis paid the few dollars in his pocket. Why? To give a gift to his mother, Gladys. He wanted to make her a record of his own voice. But something else happened in that studio. The owner of the studio was a man named Sam Phillips, and Sam Phillips was looking for something, a new sound, one he had never heard from anyone before. While Elvis was singing, the assistant in the studio recorded his voice and jotted down a note. A good ballad singer. Maybe no one realized it at that moment, but history had quietly begun to be written, because that shy truck driver might just be the voice they were looking for. Months later, Sam Phillips called Elvis back to the studio. He asked him to try a few things with some musicians. At first, nothing went right. They played for hours, but the magic just wouldn't appear. The songs they tried were ordinary. Everyone was tired and they were just about to give up. And then, during a break, the moment came. Without thinking, just for fun, Elvis began to sing an old blues song. But he sang it in such a way, so fast, so energetic, so different, that it was as if he were creating the song from scratch. The musicians beside him joined in. Sam Phillips burst out of the control room. "What is this?" he asked. "What are you doing?" the boys said. "We don't know." But Sam knew. The sound he had been searching for all those years was right in front of him. The name of that song was "That's All Right." And what was recorded that night was the birth of rock and roll. The shy, poor boy from Tupelo was gone. In his place came something that would change the world forever. But before that storm broke, the first act of our story closes here. In the next part, we'll see how that spark became a wildfire and how it split America in two. Subscribe and keep watching.